Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and it's cause for celebration today as it's our 200th video ever, so we'll be doing a full city tour. Right, so for today's tour I thought I'd start at the door of the Lego room because it is the first thing you see when you come in, and it's quite a busy city. In fact, Mrs. Hood always says she finds it quite daunting coming into the Lego room because there's just so much to look at and so many different bright colours that it's very hard to sort of pick each individual item out. But the reason why I very much like this angle is because, being the main viewing angle of the room, we can see everything at its best perspective. So a lot of those open back buildings over there and on the back are completely facing us, so we don't see any of their insides and the bits we're not supposed to see. And all of the buildings near us, for example this warehouse for Dr. Inferno, is completely enclosed, and I make sure that all of the buildings in the middle are done more in a modular style, including things like my station there. So I think that takes a lot of planning to do, to make sure that buildings like the Krusty Krab pub there and the fish and chip shop in front of it are enclosed when they can be seen from all angles. But having buildings like the bike shop there, or all of this run of shops open backed, is less of an issue when you can't see through them. And people who've watched the channel a lot will have heard me say that I like that a lot because it lets in all the lights. You can actually see the interiors of these open backed shops. And the reason why I bring it up today is because the brand new set that's out at the moment is the Diagon Alley set 75978, and basically I think I'm going to get that set. In fact, I think I am. I've already ordered it, so I definitely am, and I'm going to use it in its open backed glory to fill in some of the gaps I've got in my city. So you'll see that there's a gap in the old town right over there next to the medieval market over here, and that is going to be a perfect location for some of the Diagon Alley sets, in that we've already got some sort of mock Tudor buildings, or probably genuine Tudor actually, underneath Brick Nottingham Castle, built against the castle rock there. So that would fit in seamlessly with some of the really sort of old world building style of Harry Potter, whilst also bringing in quite a bit of brightness and colour. Now there's an argument to say that we could fill in the gap that I've temporarily put my demolition squad into with the rest of those sets, though with them being open backed I don't want them next to the cinema there, because then you'll be able to see it when we're in the second standing hole from the wrong angle behind and be able to see insides, and that's not really what I want. So it might be that I move things like the arcade and the coffee chain shack that are there, which do have backs, to a more central location that can be seen from all sides, and actually put yet more of the Diagon Alley sets over there to complete my old town. And I haven't built it yet, but if there were one that was, I don't know, less of a favourite, let's say, then I could also turn it into a facade and put it next to At Sweat in this gap against the wall. But I think it's a bit too early to say at the moment. I'm mildly concerned that some of them are a bit pink or a bit purple or something like that to put in my city without looking too silly. But, you know, I think it's definitely worth a try. Now, while we're here, here is another gap. This is above the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lair there at the very bottom. And that is definitely going to be a pizza restaurant. That's been planned for a long time. It's not that sort of special or anything that I've had to hold it back all this time, but I was using that area to lean over while I was finishing all of my facades, because we've got the complete run of facades on this side now, all the way from the first one we did, which was the construction site over there, which is really good fun, but usually totally obscured by the Emporium, Grand Emporium building there. But I do like that because one of my design rules is density, as you'll know, and that includes having things behind the other things. So being able to see things only from one direction and not being able to see them from absolutely everywhere in the room makes it a lot more fun, because you'll always discover something new while you're exploring. But then we've got the Aries Deli, the tall building with President Business on the roof, very slim one. And the red slim one, I was going for a bit of perspective, but it's very hard to do. I'm trying to make it appear narrower and thus further away, but essentially it just looks like a thinner building. So I'll have to try harder at that. I mean, there's an idea you could just sort of use smaller windows and not have any minifigures in them, and then it will look really far away. But I don't know, obliquely like this, I think you'll still see it in line. Anyway, next is the condo building, with arguably the best scene in the entire city, with the naked man on the window ledge who's been caught with his lover. And then we've got the girls' school and another Italian restaurant, La Locanda, which I think is a really great set to turn into a facade. So all of these buildings, we're looking at the back of them. That's why they don't have doors, because if you had a door, you'd be walking straight onto the cargo train line. And then while we're here, we may as well go into our harbour area. I love that flower growing up the fence there, which is all the way along. And we've got these absolutely lovely crane legs, these really old crane legs, quite hard to get hold of. I think I had to go to mainland Europe for enough of those to do 2 cranes, because I always think that a cargo area should be really busy. So we've got 2 cranes there that can take off boats and even put straight onto trains. And then we've got a couple of ones that work with cars. So we've got one here that's helping unload fish, 2 fishing boats, shrimp boat and a traditional fishing boat. So that is a crane that works onto vehicle, and another one here which is actually taking cargo canisters off this big container ship. Now I do have space in my harbour, both here and definitely all the way along there, to fit more boats in. Now the boat that we did in the last set of videos, the last 25 since we last did a city update, was the crab boat. So it's the 3rd one of our fishing fleet. Real life Nottingham doesn't have a fishing fleet because it's absolutely miles from the coast. But there we've got our Sig Hansen minifigure. That's why he's grey. He's breaking the rule of only yellow-faced minifigures in Brick Nottingham. Ooh, he's got a bit seasick. And the only other one I think that breaks that rule is the mayor, who has a very large fake tan. And then we've got some warehouse buildings here. And talking of warehouses, I'm thinking of doing some facades all along that wall there. Maybe not unbroken, because we probably want some bits of water to be unobstructed, but just to have a few sort of facade buildings maybe at the end of this pier. Just very, very flat ones, but to represent more warehouses all being around. We've already got a stack of sort of small buildings along here. We've got the Eldorado Fortress, which is a tourist attraction, which has got loads of pirates sort of putting on a show at the moment. Then we've got some baddies in a hideout there, labelled Carl's Cargo. Another crane for loose goods. We've got Dock 13, that's got more criminals in it. And then the police are staking them out from this shack here. The Explorer's balloon above. DB Cooper having jumped out of this plane. Above that. And then the space station, which still hasn't fallen off, by the way. Those who entered the When Will the Space Station Fall Off the Ceiling sweepstake, there still isn't a winner yet. And there's some planes that are flying away from or have just streaked past the alien mothership. So my design rules, yes, it's worth probably going over those again, especially for new members of the gang. Basically, I have several rules that I try and follow, and things I don't mind, like open back buildings and so on, that I've already covered. But the first one is density, and I think you'll agree I've achieved that. You just cannot see for bricks. The second is diversity. And what I mean by that is not just to have basically one of everything. So we've got a cargo train, a passenger train, a subway train, and then a boat of every sort of size, shape and description, but also different themes. So we've got Ninjago represented there, for example, Spider-Man down here, for example, explorers up there, and so on and so on. So there's all sorts of different themes covered here, castle over there. And that's really important, I think, for having an interesting city that's not exactly the same as every other Lego city that's out there. Another one of my design rules, which is relatively unique, I think, is to use as many layers as possible. And I think I achieved that well. So we've got the lowest level being the underground, which you can see here, one underground station. We're in the progress of developing the second subway station right over there. You can just see the track, but it will be similar. But that's going to be a crazy haunted, ghost-ridden type subway station. A bit sort of hidden side, but also a bit sort of, hopefully a bit Stranger Thingsy as well. Then the second layer is sea level, which we've seen in the harbour and underneath these bridges, very low there, and into the harbour, because this standing hole represents Brick Bay. So this is a body of water that gets fed by the river Trent that comes through here. And there's marina on one side, the beach on the other, and then this is the mouth of the bay that goes out towards the door of the Lego room, which is out to sea via the harbour. And then we've got some other layers that are a bit higher. So around the harbour, we've got all the roads and base plates actually being 2 bricks higher than sea level. Then we've got around the marina an area that's 5 bricks above sea level. And then the main area is just 1 brick more than that, 6 bricks above sea level. And that's where all the roads are and all the rail and the monorail with the tram on. And that really does give a lot of contrast when you look at an area such as this, for example. You have quite a tall structure that then is dwarfed by something behind it. And indeed, in some areas, I've got about sort of 4 layers of things. And you've got the marina there, say, and then you've got the surf shop behind it, and then the row of shops behind that, and then the modular row behind that, and then the facade row even behind that. So that is what I mean by layering. And we haven't got to full layering on this side, but you can already see, even there, you've got the low beach, then the boardwalk a little bit higher, the modulars, then the rail, then more modular row with the main stations on across the street. And at the moment, some really tall buildings before we've even got to the stuff that's going to be behind that on all of those tables. Now, while we're here, I will mention the fact that these tall buildings probably aren't going to stay there, at least not all of them. The newest one there is the Space Tower with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 floors, plus a massive dish on the roof. And the reason why that's not going to stay there is just because it's too tall for anyone who's working in that space to not knock over. And that's been proven because last night, yep, I elbowed it and it went flying. Bits of this tower, this very tall tower, went, well, basically blew up around this entire half of the Lego room. I was sort of crawling around trying to find odd bits of Spaceman backpack and so on to put it back together. So I think that will be the first of our deep facades that will be in this line along the edge of this road. You can see I've put in a few more road plates, and that's deliberately left a 16 wide strip on this side, and that will be basically a long row of buildings, one next to the other. So this road will continue basically on maybe all the way to that wall, and we'll have low stuff in this section all the way up to here and tall stuff all the way along here. The fully motorized fairground will be on all that area along the back, and then we'll probably have a farm where the roller coaster is, And you can see I've had a little bit more road there. So the road will go off towards the farm on that corner. But it will go past around here an airport. So that's where my airport is going to be. Now you might think, well, there's no room there for an airport. And in a way, you're right. What I'm going to do is have kind of a very deep facade of an airport. So the building is going to be entirely there, the terminal building. And you can pull up in your car, do drop off and pick up and all the rest of it. And that building will be, I think it's about 24 studs deep. And then the runway and so on will be behind that, i.e. sort of through the walls. So there'll only be sort of inferred runway. But we'll have planes and stuff like that visible as well. So that's what's going on in that whole area. And then in the gaps in between where we've got a green area there, and we've got a green area here, I'm hoping to do modulars. And I'm hoping to do my own design modulars, much like I did with Fast Food Corner, which we're looking at the back of here. We'll go around soon. But yeah, I'm hoping to do at least one, probably two new modulars, but they do take an absolute age to make. So do bear with me with that. Very nice area here with the crazy golf. And then I'm managing to squeeze in a skateboard park. And right here in this very sort of undone and raw edge area here is going to be my cargo area for my trains. So here will be a place where a kind of cranes and all the rest of it will be able to load up this cargo train from trucks and vice versa. And there'll be loads of sort of crates and all the rest of it all around there. So here are the two bridges. Nice grey one and the wonderful blue one made with old rails, old single rails in blue. And then we've got the Patreon train, which we did the lovely double-decker car in the last 25 videos. So there's that. And that's my own design as well. And I've used these lovely kind of end roof pieces to do a slightly different design from the observation car on my white train. And I think that works really well. I'm kind of tempted to do the whole thing double-decker, but obviously that will require a lot of pieces and a lot of effort for not a huge amount of variation, to be honest. And like I said, variety is very important to me. Cool, right, so I think that's enough from this perspective. You get the idea. It's looking good. It's looking full. Don't get too scared though, because we've got loads and loads of space to fill in between as well. But yeah, I am looking forward to Diagon Alley because I do think that that is going to fill up some places in a really good way. So this is the view from the top of the Space Tower, which has been reconstructed after the Elbow disaster of 2020. Done a lot more amendments in that, but I'll probably show you them in due course. But there's the glass from the rocket that's blown through the window. There is my pride and joy, Fast Food Corner, which is my own mock modular, my own creation. And that is up for LEGO Ideas approval starting in September. So that's where, if it gets 10,000 votes on the LEGO Ideas website, it is considered to be made into a real set. So it will be not necessarily up against a whole bunch of other successful ideas, but it will be under consideration by LEGO in the upcoming months. And I think we'll get an announcement very soon on the last lot before mine. And then the announcement for this, whether this actually gets made into a set or not, with its lovely iconic fast food sign. That decision I think will get made at the end of the year. So no progress expected on that for a while. And there's the lovely station. And our view, the tracks and all those lovely tread plate tiles that I was collecting over all those halls. And another one of my design rules is to build in the Lego style. And what I mean by that is that I don't go for realism. I kind of go for building things in a way that I'd expect them to be if I bought them in a set. So I'm very much happy with open backs, as we've discussed, but I also want things to not necessarily be realistic. For example, this bar up here doesn't look particularly realistic, but it does look very Lego. And I think that makes the whole city have a sort of cohesive kind of style that I think works very well. And much like in these buildings, which are facades for this standing space, they're built in the Lego style and they have loads of funny scenes, like proctologist there. And I think that's what makes Lego. I don't think it's about realism. I think there are better mediums to build model cities in if you want realism. For me, I think Lego is 100% about fun. So if you want to have a gym, it should be fun, with fun adverts on and silly scenes in the inside. You should have 3D big alien signs on top of your arcades. You should have aliens joining in, watching the illegal wrestling on the roof of the cinema, along with Dorothy there. Another example of me using yellow skin tones on all my minifigures where possible. And the fact that it might rain in real life shouldn't stop us from having open stairs, or a lack of toilets, or a lack of fences on some health and safety grounds. I know that's a massive source of comments for you. And here's another example of us going 3D down into a subway entrance. Very good. And that brings me on to a few more of the layers. We kind of stopped at the normal street level, but we've got more layers than that because we've got the Castle Rock over there, which is about 20 bricks high, which really elevates that wonderful castle into a very visible position. But then we've also got scenes on top of buildings, on top of cranes, and then we go up to what's in the sky with skydivers pouring out of this plane, the aliens and the planes we looked at earlier, and even space on the ceiling. And that's what I use for space, the ceiling. I'm going to be adding more space scenes to that. Not too soon, actually, but I do have a couple of satellites that need to go up, so I'll be sticking them on. And that makes the room even more full, because that's the idea at the end of the day, to get this city absolutely as full of Lego as possible. Okay, so in the standing hole now, see all those lovely layers if you go right down here. There, up to there, up to there, and then up some more steps to street level. And it really does make a difference. You look at a scene like that, and it just looks so, well, real in a way, in a Lego style. But what we really need is motion to make a city complete, in my mind. So, get the subway train going. That's a bit too slow, isn't it? I think that's a bit faster. I think I had my finger on the infrared sensor. See if we can spot it, see what speed it's going in this hole. That looks about right, doesn't it? I do like that. The reason for that was I needed another train because I can only have 2 tracks, because otherwise it just takes far too much space, unfortunately. I would love to have a setup with about sort of 6 trains, but then I won't be able to fit in half as many buildings. And I think that the buildings make the city, so I think they're arguably more important. So let's get a cargo train going. Oh, I did that too fast. Come back. Thing is, I've got 2 trains on the front of this, so if I accelerate too quickly, they're just far too powerful and will wrench away from the rest of the train. There we go. Now I do love this cargo train because it's so long. And I do plan to make it even longer, because if you're only going to have 2 tracks and limit yourself to that much different train, then why not make them as absolutely long as possible so you can enjoy seeing them go round and round as much as possible. Let's get this one going. This one is running low on batteries. My other ones, I love that, the spinning cement car there. Yeah, the power functions ones are doing fine, but the powered up one is running really low on batteries. And that's because it uses normal batteries as opposed to the power functions one, which have rechargeables, and they just seem to last a lot longer and have more consistent levels of power. Right, let's get the tram going. Oh, it'd help if I had the station setting right. There we go. The full works. And this is another thing about the layers. Look at that. You've got the tram going behind buildings and kind of popping out, and that's much more like real life. Dipping down and going up, just like in real Nottingham. And having trains going through tunnels. Here comes the subway. Ha ha! Now, if that doesn't make you happy, then I don't know what will. You're potentially beyond help. So now I'm doing a tour every 25 videos. I think that's a good idea, by the way. There is less progress in between each tour, but I still think we've made a lot of progress with our train improvements, because the blue cargo train was a new addition, as well as the car there, so the blue engine there. Oh, the caboose obviously fell off and has been picked up by the front of the train. I'll take that off. I think that magnet must have come loose from the back. Yep, there it is. It's missing from the very back. Bit of fun. Calamity whilst filming. Here's my demolition crew, by the way. It's a recent addition, that. 60076. It's a really good fun set, actually, because you get this great big ball to smash things, and I won't do it now, but you can press the demolition button and it kind of blows up all this half. So that's really good fun, actually. I was surprised at how good it was. Yeah, but one of the main things we've done, or rather two, are these two great big buildings over here. Multi-parters, both of them. The hospital and the space tower. And although they've taken up only a very small footprint, that is deliberate, because there are going to be loads more buildings of that size doing different things all along the other side of this road, though I'm going to have shorter ones so I don't smack it, and along here all the way along. So I mean, there's loads of potential for loads more buildings, and that's what I really want, because I want the city to be absolutely huge and bustling and have every scene be kind of as busy as, say, this one is. Oh, that is good, isn't it? So that's an area that I'm planning to fill with Diagon Alley stuff. And then the question is, how much of this area, including demolition, do I do as well? I mean, you could always add a back to some of these builds as well. But I don't want them to be too wizardy, wandy and all the rest of it. But we'll have to see. Oh, tram's come to a stop. There we go. Very old, the monorail system now. Does need a little helping hand every now and then. And the battery might be up for a charge. But sometimes it just comes down the hill with a bit too much speed and doesn't hit the switch properly to turn around. But I do like that very much. It's all got the lights on as well. I do intend to get a few more power functions soon, so I can basically downgrade my powered up train to be power functions. Oh, doesn't that look good? And also get things on the same controllers and so on. But very happy. And I'm really looking forward to doing that second subway station. That's a priority. And it's going to be haunted. and full of ghosts and all the rest of it, so I think it'll be double the fun. And then we've got all my rides so far over here underneath this light. We've got the roller coaster, the Ferris wheel, and then we've got the ones that I've motorised myself. So I've motorised the Funny Octopus ride, the little rocket ride you might be able to see in the middle there, and the Venus Fly drop, vertical drop one, which I think worked surprisingly well given I did it myself. And there's Crazy Golf and the whole beach scene. I love the beach. Let's do a pan along the beach because there's so many little fun scenes. There's the sunburnt dude. The guy's left his missus, half changed in the changing room. Got the sandcastle competition. We've got this guy checking out the Baywatch babes, but his missus isn't very happy. Shrimp Shack. And I love this scene, the beach volleyball. Everyone leaping around using those new pieces that you get to position figures in an action pose. Bit of a beach party there. Fish and chip shop. Do love my 3D signs. Big fish there, big shrimp, big clamshell, big yeti, big, we did the Space Invader, didn't we? Big Space Invader. What else we got? Big donut. I do love these old buildings. So I think if I can just de-Harry Potterize, I think that's a verb, isn't it, to de-Harry Potterize the Diagon Alley sets. I think they'll fit in really well with the Crown Pub and the tourist office and blacksmith. More 3D signs. Ice cream, toy soldier. Yeah, so I'm probably wittering on now, so I'll probably call it and focus on other videos for the future. Oh, you just can't beat that, can you? So as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, well, we'll be adding more stuff to this ever-expanding city. See you then!